Section 10.8 Equations of Circles. Standard form of a circle is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, where the center of the circle is h comma k, r is our radius. We need to remember that h and k are the positive forms of the negatives that we see in the equation. It's minus h minus k. So if we see x minus 8 squared plus y minus 7 squared, our center is going to be at positive 8, positive 7. We always take the opposite of what we see in the equation to make the center of our circle. So if we have to write an equation in standard form given a center and a radius, our center is negative 5 comma 0. So we know our normal equation is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So we're going to have x minus a negative 5 squared, so that's going to be x plus 5 squared, plus y minus 0 squared, which is really just y squared, is going to equal our radius squared, which is 36. Alright, using a graph, give the center, radius, and write the standard form of the equation. So we look, our center is at x equals 1, 2, 3, negative 3, and we go up 2, so it's at negative 3, 2. The radius from our center to any edge, what is our radius going to be? Here we can look really at any of the points they give us, so we'd rather go that way. We go over 1, 2 units, so our radius is going to be 2. So we can write that into standard form. X minus a negative 3 is going to be x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared is going to equal our radius squared, which is 4. Alright, write the equation of a circle with a center of 2, negative 4, and a radius of 4. So we know if the radius is 4, our r squared is going to be 16, so we can immediately eliminate a and b because they don't have our equation equal to 16 like we're supposed to. And then we know when we write them in our equations, we always take the opposite of what is shown for our center. So we would have x minus 2 squared plus y minus a negative 4 squared, so that's going to be y plus 4. So our answer is going to be C. Alright, given a graph, write the equation of the circle graphed at the right. Excuse me. First, we need to know where our center is. Our center for x is at 0. They tell us y is 3. They tell us another point on the circle is 0, 6. So to find the radius, we go from the center. We need to find the distance to that other point. Luckily, it's right in a line, so we can just count. It's up 1, 2, 3 units. So our distance from 0, 3 to 0, 6 is going to be 3. So our radius is 3, which means the radius squared is going to be 9. So again, we can eliminate a and b. Our x is at 0, so the x squared is good. And our y is at positive 3. So we know in our standard form, we always take the opposite of what our 2 points at the center are. So it's going to be x squared plus y minus 3 squared equal to 9. So our equation will be D. Alright, write the standard form of a circle given the center and a point on the circle. So now we know to find the radius, we need to take the distance from the center to that point to find our radius. So we know our radius is going to equal the square root of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. That's just manipulating the standard form of our circle equation. We can plug in our h and our k from C, and we can plug in the point that they give us, the 1 and the 2. And then we solve that. Negative 4 squared plus 3 squared is going to be equal to the square root of 16 plus 9. So r is going to equal the square root of 25, which is 5. So once we have the radius, we can use that to write the standard form of equation. We know x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is going to equal our radius squared. So x minus 5 quantity squared plus y plus 1 quantity squared is going to equal 25. write the equation of the circle that has its center at -1, 0, and passes through 3, 0. Same thing we did before. We need to find the radius. We know our radius is going to be the distance from the center to the point on the circle. So our radius is going to equal the square root of -1 minus 3 squared plus 0 minus 0 squared, which is going to be 0. So our radius is going to equal the square root of -1 minus 3 is going to be -4 squared, which is going to equal 16. But we know the square root of 16 equals 4. So our radius is 4. So we know our radius squared is going to be 16. So we can eliminate C right away because our answer is not going to be C. We go back and we plug everything in. Our center is at -1. So we're going to have x plus 1 squared plus y squared is going to equal 16. The only one that fits that is A. All right, write the equation of the circle graphed. So first we need to know the center. Our center, our x point is at -1, and then we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So our center is at -1, -4. They tell us the radius is the square root of 15. Square of that is going to be positive 15. So we know our answers are going to be either A or D. And since our center is at -1, -4, when we plug that into our standard form equation, we know we take the opposite of those two numbers. So we're going to have x plus 1 quantity squared plus y plus 4 squared is going to equal 15. So our answer is D. All right, graph the equation of the circle. We know that our center is always going to be at the opposite of the x and the y that they give us. So our center is going to be at x of positive 3 and y is going to be -1. So we go out to positive 3 and down 1. And then the radius squared is 4. So our radius is going to be 2. So from the center, everywhere on the circle is going to be a distance of 2 away. So from our center point, we can go over 2, plot a point. We can go up 2, plot a point, left 2, and down 2. And then our circle is just going to be the nice curve of all of those together. And some of yours are going to look like nice circles. Other of yours are going to look like mine, which is good enough. We don't have compasses to draw them all the time. So just showing that those 4 points are 2 away from the center works out well. Alright, which of the following is the graph of x squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 25? So the first thing that we can use to help us is identify where the center of the circle is supposed to be. Since it's x squared and it's not added to anything else, we know, or there's nothing else added to it, we know the center point of x is going to be at 0. So that eliminates none of these. They're all centered at 0 for x, but the y is going to be at positive 5 since we see a -5 shown there. So x is going to be 0, positive 5 for a center. The only one that actually has that is B. And then we just want to double check that the radius is 5. So from our center, we check is the distance up 5 to the next top point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is. So our radius is 5. We know our answer is B. And that concludes section 10.8, equations of circles.